Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the Online Series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the previous episode, which I've linked down in the description below, we showed off a very fun combination of Sneasel and Yveltal. This team got top 8 at the Taiwan National Championships a couple of weekends ago, so the creator, Rental, and Paste are all down in the description below. Before getting into today's episode, I wanted to briefly talk about why Sneasel is a valuable pick in this format, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps in the description below. So thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like, I'd really appreciate it. And inspired by us using Sneasel today, question of the day, I want to know what fun strategies you're trying out in this last month of Series 12. So let's talk about Sneasel real quick. So the first question people will ask is, why in the world would you use Sneasel over Weavile, its evolution? And there's a very simple answer for it, and that's the ability Inner Focus. When Sneasel evolves into Weavile, it actually loses its ability, and Inner Focus is really, really important for the Sneasel-Yveltal combination to work. With Inner Focus, you cannot get flinched, and so Fake Out from opposing Incineroars, Rillabooms, and other Pokemon like Grimmsnarl and Raichu don't work against Sneasel, right? They just don't flinch Sneasel. And that's really important because what this combo really wants to do is Sneasel goes for a Fake Tears. It's base 115 speed, so this is actually faster than almost everything in the format other than the really speedy Pokemon like Calyrex Shadow Rider, Zacian, and Regieleki, as well as Choice Scarf Pokemon. But for the majority of Pokemon in the format, you know, Sneasel will be able to just outspeed them, get a Fake Tears off, and then Yveltal can just simply finish them off with a Max Darkness or a Max Airstream, right? So the main reason you use Sneasel is because of Inner Focus combined with its really, really good base speed here. So the moveset here is pretty self-explanatory, but you have Fake Out to, you know, go for Fake Out onto Whimsicotts, for example, or Tornaduses, like Tailwind users, and just general support Pokemon. You have Foul Play here, which is actually really powerful when combined with Yveltal and Dark Aura as well. You have Icy Wind for speed control, right? So Sneasel can drop the speeds of Pokemon that are between Yveltal and Sneasel's speed tier. So I'm talking Pokemon like Thundurus and Charizard, for example, both which are really common in this format. And then, of course, the Fake Tears combination to enable Yveltal, right? So the main reason you use Sneasel is because of Inner Focus, and it combos really, really nicely with its speed and Fake Tears, and that makes it the perfect Yveltal partner. Another thing to talk about with this is that when you lead Sneasel and Yveltal, you know, your opponents with Prankster Pokemon like Thundurus or Whimsicott or Grimmsnarl can't go for priority attacks onto either because they're immune to them. So that's actually a really big deal in itself because there are a lot of Prankster Pokemon in this format and they can be quite annoying to fight against, especially Grimmsnarl. So yeah, the idea of this Sneasel is that it enables Yveltal and also gets good speed control for the rest of its teammates here. So that's why you want to use Sneasel in this format, and it combos so perfectly with Yveltal. So let's get some games to feature how good this duo can be. Alright, getting into this one, and it is just pretty classic Rinya Sun. I mean, it's the exact same 6. So how do we want to approach this? Yveltal's decent, especially into Groudon. We've got some fun combos into Charizard as well. Aleki is obviously super good into Charizard, but my question is whether or not my opponent's willing to lead it. I think something like Grimmsnarl, Charizard, Groudon, Zacian works pretty well for them. If I were them, I wouldn't bring Gastrodon, but you could lead it with Grimmsnarl and put on like early Yawn pressure, which I think is fairly powerful. So like I'm thinking about just going with the Sneasel and the Yveltal, Zacian, Incineroar. The problem with these 4 is that I'm somewhat weak to Charizard, right? Like let's say they lead Grim Charizard, what would I do? Probably turn 1 Fake Out Airstream, but then if Charizard Airstreams as well actually that's okay because they won't KO us. If they Wildfire, then we'll outspeed them next turn. I guess the thing is, like, do I actually want Incineroar? Because something like Aleki actually would be really good just to deal with Charizard. But it's super weak into Groudon, obviously. So I think it's okay because a Max Airstream into a Behemoth Blade will be a KO onto Charizard, and a Fake Tears combo can also KO Charizard, but yeah, I mean, Charizard is still scary, right? The problem is, yeah, Aleki doesn't necessarily just, like, win us the matchup against it, because Charizard could just protect, and then whatever's next to Charizard could just aim for a knockout onto the Regieleki. So it is going to be Grim and Charizard. Yep, that's the lead I was talking about. You know, the thing is here, like, what do we expect? Maybe a Light Screen into Wildfire onto the Sneasel slot? It's like, the other play I'm thinking about is actually just going for Fake Tears immediately onto Charizard and then, like, one-shotting it. Then I can bring in Incineroar. The problem with that is here my opponent could switch Grimmsnarl out into the Groudon immediately and just set up the Sun. I also think that's not that bad of a play for them. I'm kind of down for the Fake Tears play, honestly. My question is whether or not Airstream actually gets the knockout. I might want a Darkness here instead. Okay, I'm going to go for Fake Tears and Max Darkness on a Charizard immediately. Okay, they stay in with Grim, which is a good sign. So, I don't know. I expect Light Screen maybe into G-Max Wildfire, but they could go for an Airstream here as well. But if we just one-shot the Charizard, I'd say that's a pretty good start for us, right? Especially because my opponent's Grimmsnarl doesn't really put on very much offensive pressure, although Spirit Break is actually quite solid into both the Pokemon I have on the field right now. So, Light Screen makes sense to me here. I guess the question is whether or not after Fake Tears we can KO through Light Screen. So, that's the big question. I kind of expect it to KO, but I'm not 100% sure. Charizards normally don't really run any bulk on these teams either. And if you have Life Orb, you'd also take some chip from that as well. And ideally, it's just, I don't know, Wildfire into Sneasel. But they actually go for Trick. Okay, I guess they may have forgotten about the fact that we're dark with both Pokemon, and you can't go for Trick there. And they Airstream. That's the perfect start for us, honestly. The only thing that would have been better is if I Airstream here, because then I would outspeed the Zacian. But yeah, honestly, this puts me in such a favorable position. And I think this game in itself highlights why the dual Dark lead is so valuable, right? Like, being able to not have to worry about shenanigans from Grimmsnarl is super nice, right? Because essentially with this lead, all it says is, okay, well, your Grimmsnarl can't go for Fake Tears, it can't go for Trick, it can't go for Thunder Wave, it can't go for Scary Face onto either of my two Pokemon, meaning like you can't stop this Fake Tears combo, right? So the only thing you can really go for is maybe like a Light Screen or a Spirit Break. And those are scary, but because we have the Fake Tears here and because Grimmsnarl is slower, I don't have to worry about it as much, which is obviously very good for us. So I expect Zacian to come out, but it's actually Incineroar. Oh, so they dropped one of Zacian and Groudon. I mean, this game honestly feels like it's just over here, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Because the reality is we have Inner Focus here, right? That's one of the main reasons you want to use Sneasel. So, like, I can just go for another Fake Tears combo right now. So, honestly, I'm down to just click Fake Tears onto Grimmsnarl. What do I have in the back? Zacian and Incineroar. Yeah, Fake Tears on a Grim and Airstream here I think is acceptable. Just get the knockout onto it. And they go for Reflect. Perfect. So maybe it's a parting shot from Incineroar. I went for the KO onto Grimmsnarl mainly because I don't want it going for, like, speed control onto the Zacian in the back. And here we probably expect the Incineroar to just click the parting shot onto the Yveltal, right? And, like, it's going to be one of Zacian or Groudon as their final one. I'm just kind of surprised. I feel like if you had Zacian, you would have brought it out already, right? So if it's Groudon, I think my opponent's in a really tough spot, honestly. It's just parting shot, that's fine. And importantly, they set up Reflect and not Light Screen, right? So the Fake Tears combo will still do a significant amount of damage. Now I have the speed boost as well, and if it's Groudon coming back out, I think this game is over. If it's Zacian, I still have Intimidate and my own Zacian as well, which is also pretty good. And that is going to be Groudon. So interesting, they actually just dropped Zacian in this matchup. Yeah, I didn't think the Incineroar was really that valuable for them. I think Zacian would have helped them out a lot more. And now this game basically feels like it's over. They have Reflect up, but I have Incineroar and Zacian in the back, so I have Intimidate, obviously. I think this is honestly a perfect Sneasel game, right? Like, this game highlights exactly why you want to use it, immune to Dark. Although they try to trick onto Yveltal, obviously, but being immune to Dark means no shenanigans from Grim, and I can't get faked out here either. So, yeah, I'm down to just click Fake Tears here onto Groudon. And we don't really need a speed boost, so let's just go for Max Darkness. Stronger here. Yep, and there's no Protect. Like, I could try to go for the knockout onto Incineroar. If I were guaranteed the KO, that's probably worth going for, but it's like, the bulk of the damage is coming out from Groudon at this point in the game, right? So we don't get the knockout thanks to the parting shot from earlier, but that's okay. You shouldn't be able to get a double KO here. Even if you do, like, I feel pretty confident winning the game with Incineroar and Zacian in the end. And we actually avoid the Stone Edge as well, unfortunately for them. And they just go for Flare Blitz, yeah. like, even if Stone Edge KOs there, I just get a free switch in, right? And then Foul Play would just KO Groudon. I can bring an Incineroar, fake out into their Incineroar. So we just had such a big lead in this game, and it mainly came off the, you know, turn 1 blunder of them trying to trick onto Yveltal. And that's why, you know, Pokemon's a game where just one misclick or one misplay can cost you the game, especially in this format, which is so unforgiving. So, yeah. Can Foul Play into the Groudon slot now, and just Oblivion Wing. Given that they have Stone Edge and that they survived the Fake Tears combo here, I'm pretty sure they're Assault Vest, so they shouldn't be able to protect. And that is the perfect demonstration of why Sneasel and Yveltal can be a really fun combination here. So I think the game ended up being obviously easier because of the turn 1 play, but also because they didn't bring Zacian. But the idea is, even if Charizard faints and they bring in Zacian, turn 2 I can like protect my Yveltal switch in Incineroar, or protect an Icy Wind into a turn 3 like Fake Tears combination, for example, right? And if I get the Icy Wind onto Zacian and KO Grimmsnarl, then their Zacian's permanently at -1 speed. I've got Incineroar and my Zacian in the back, so I get a dual Intimidate onto both their physical attackers. My Zacian also has Substitute, which can be valuable there as well. So I felt pretty good about the end game here, but ended up being a lot easier because they didn't even have the Zacian. So yeah. Either way, though, yeah, this dual Dark lead, super good into Grimmsnarl, because Grimmsnarl just can't really go for any major shenanigans onto us. And yeah, they went with the lead, which is what I was expecting for as well, right? Which was good to see. So yeah, let's keep things going. Alright, our next game of the day, and it is Kyogre Zacian, but with Landorus, Thundurus, Grimmsnarl, and Indeedee. Now, Kyogre Zacian continues to be, you know, maybe the #1 most popular restricted core right now, and it's going to be a heavy favorite going into Worlds, although, you know, I think a lot of players will work really hard to counter it for Worlds specifically, but if you're playing on the ladders, like, this is just still such a consistent duo, and there's so many different ways to run it, right? The Indeedee male is definitely an interesting sight. You don't see that as frequently. Gastrodon could even be a Dynamax option in this game. Yawn Pressure is good. Psychic Terrain means I'm a little bit more hesitant to bring Incineroar. Dynamax Alecki could actually be pretty solid here. We could just go with Sneasel, Yveltal, Zacian, Alecki. And I also don't know like the type of Thundurus set, but Sneasel and Yveltal can combo really well. I think I'm down for... Oh, you know what the problem is? If they lead Indeedee like Zacian into this. Ugh. Would they really lead that though? Maybe. Because it sets up Psychic Terrain, so I can't fake out the Zacian, which is part of the problem. Bring my Zacian. The question is basically, do I want Incineroar here? Like, I actually don't want to bring it, even though they have Landorus and Zacian, for a couple of reasons. One, if they're wider Landorus, Incineroar's value just really, like, drops down so much. Two, they have Indeedee, so if they set up Psychic Terrain, I can't even click Fake Out when I bring out Incineroar. And three, Incineroar essentially becomes Kyogre bait, because if they position Kyogre properly, like, I just can't get Incineroar out, and I have to take a Water Spout onto it, essentially. They're going to go with Thundurus and Landorus, though. Okay, I'm actually very pleased with this, because, once again, thanks to Dual Dark, if you are, like, depending on the Thundurus set, right, you can't actually really go for priority attacks here, which is really valuable. So turn 1, like, I mean... when I see this lead, I either expect Dynamax Thundurus and Choice Band Landorus, or support Thundurus plus Dynamax Landorus. But the problem is I don't know which one of the two it is. So the question here is, do I have a positive play that beats both? I think, like, Icy Wind... the thing is, I want to Airstream this turn really badly, right? I am worried about Defiant Thundurus. Okay, I'm going for Icy Wind, Max Airstream, because even if they are Defiant Thundurus, the idea is that I can foul play it next turn. But, I don't know, I expect Landorus to max here more frequently, but then, like, would you really lead that into us? It is Dynamax Thundurus. It could be Scarflando here as well. Okay. The Icy Wind Foul Play combo, which I featured previously, would have worked excellently here as well, but I made the wrong guess, unfortunately. And that's the strength of using a combo like this in best of one, right? But I think the play I made is basically what I was thinking is, okay, I could Icy Wind Foul Play, but if they just Dynamax Landorus and then max Rockfall into Yveltal, like, that's not great for me, right? And basically, if they were regular support Thundurus here, and then, you know, offensive Landorus, I'd kind of win off this turn 1. Yeah, so they're not Scarf, but I'm activating Defiant. So the thing is, like, I do have Foul Play into Thundurus, but it won't KO, especially because I won't have Dark Aura the next turn, right? So, definitely kind of frustrating. If I just went for Icy Wind Foul Play, we'd definitely be in a better spot. But I'm not sure we'd be in, like, that good of a position anyway, because they'd just be able to bring out the Zacian. The other question here is my opponent actually willing to click Max Lightning into the Yveltal slot? Because they might Airstream instead, and if that's the case, then we're actually in okay shape still, I would say. If they don't KO us, thanks to the speed drop I got onto them. Okay, they do Airstream. Let's see if this KOs us. Oh, they target Sneasel. Okay, perfect. So basically in this position, a lot of players are hesitant to target the Yveltal slot because of the fear that I switch into Gastrodon, for example, right? If you Max Lightning into and I go into Gastrodon, it's obviously really bad. That looks like a Salt Vest Thundurus to me. They do bring out Zacian, but I do have a speed boost right now onto the Sneasel. So Thundurus is back to neutral. +1, +1, and we think you're AV. So given that, like, I could just go for Foul Play here into Thundurus. I've got a Lecky and Zacian in the back, which is fairly powerful. Yeah, I'm down to double up onto Thundurus here with Foul Play, and then Max Darkness as well. I'm basically just debating between the special or the physical one. I think Foul Play should do enough where either gets the knockout here, but I'm not super familiar with this Yveltal. I'm thinking because there's Assault Vest, the physical one is better to go for here, but we'll see. Oh, that almost just KOs in itself. Wow. And the idea of Max Darkness here, by the way, is like we don't really need another speed boost at the moment, and I get a special defense drop onto the Zacian, which sets up my Regieleki for success. So I got a little bit lucky on that turn 1, like even though I guessed incorrectly, they ended up just ignoring the Yveltal slot. But that's the thing, right? Even if you don't make the perfect play, your opponent has to still make the play to punish you, and they ended up not going for it. So I've got a quick lead here. Gotten rid of their Dynamax, and their Zacian is -1 special defense. Behemoth Blade will go onto Yveltal, and that actually fails to get the KO, which is huge for us here. So in a very nice spot into this endgame now. And they bring out Kyogre, okay? I mean, if they don't have Quick Attack on Zacian here, I think it should just be game over. Because what I can do is go for Fake Tears here onto Kyogre. Max Airstream it. Even if they protect, a Lecky plus Zacian on my end should win the game. Especially with Icy Wind support. If they do have Quick Attack, though, this completely changes. But no Quick Attack comes out. Beautiful. Sneasel and Yveltal is really just putting in a clinic today. I'm very, very happy to showcase how good this duel can be. Especially because in the last episode I featured it in like the first game, but not so much the subsequent games. But this thing can just overwhelm opponents so quickly. And like I feel like Sneasel's really demonstrated its strength today, right? Between getting Foul Play off into Thundurus there. That was kind of the logic where it's like, okay, you know, I know even if I activate Define, if Sneasel sticks around for a little bit longer, then I'll actually be in okay shape. And they just Sacred Sword into the Sneasel. So Yveltal actually doesn't even end up fainting. Cool. And now this grants me a free switch in. We can just go out into Regieleki now, and Thunderbolt plus Foul Play should just be a KO here. And that's one thing I really like about like the Max Darknesses on this team, right? Setting up Regieleki potentially for late game success, or Yveltal, because you know you still do pretty sizable damage. But in this case, yeah, we have a Life Orb Foul Play here and Thunderbolt. So, yeah, like, basically the way I felt about this matchup is if I get turn 1 correctly, I should just win the game. But if you think about it, right, if I clicked Icy Wind Foul Play off into Thundurus and they go for, like, a Choice Band Rock Slide, it's actually pretty bad for me, because then they bring out Zacian, right? I think this game would have been salvageable even if they just clicked Max Lightning into Yveltal, because like I got a speed boost onto the Sneasel, meaning that I can Icy Wind or Foul Play before they can attack, right? So what that means is then I could have brought out my Zacian, and given the Icy Wind damage, like I said, I was fairly sure they were Assault Vest. That means the subsequent turn I could Foul Play Behemoth Blade Thundurus for a KO, and their Zacian would get an attack off into one of my 2 Pokemon. Since I had Regieleki in the back, right, like Magnet Thunderbolt's pretty valuable into both my opponent's Pokemon, and Sneasel's at +1 speed, so I can get an Icy Wind off onto both of their Pokemon, ensuring that my Zacian and my Regieleki outspeed both of my opponent's Pokemon in the end game. So even if they had clicked Max Lightning onto the Yveltal slot, I think this actually still would have been doable as well, but because they didn't, like, we were able to just kind of blow the game wide open, right? So I feel like in today's episode, both of the turn ones, like, could have been a lot worse for us, but they ended up not being super bad, and because of that, we were able to just take what already gave us a lead and just, like, yeah, really, you know, keep the ball rolling, and yeah, just basically never let off on the momentum. And so, I mean, in this format, right, like, turn ones can be so aggressive. You can literally win the game or lose the game off a single turn to start the game, and that's just the reality of how VGC is, especially in Series 12 when you have 2 restricted Pokemon and Dynamax available to you, right? But I'm just so happy to show off Sneasel and Weavile. Sorry, not Sneasel, Weavile, Sneasel and Yveltal. So let's keep going. Alright, next game of the day here, and there is a Butterfree. Whoa. This is scary. So basically, my opponent's team is like a really common Zacian Kyogre team running around right now, right? You'll often see Charizard over the Butterfree slot, but I think compositions like this will actually be a very popular Zacian Kyogre pick going into the World Championships this summer. So Butterfree is definitely a wild card. What's interesting is you can only have one Focus Sash user on that team, and Butterfree likes to run Sash, but it could also be Scarfed. I really don't like going up against Whimsicott teams generally, because it's like if they just set up Tailwind, like, we never can outpace them. I shouldn't say never. We like won't be able to very easily, but we have Electro Web, Icy Wind, and Max Airstream Pressure. So when you combo all of those, you could actually maybe get some speed control. I'm thinking for this one, Sneasel plus Aleki as the lead. I'm just really nervous about Butterfree. Sneasel, Aleki, like, Yveltal's not that good here into Thundurus and Zacian, truthfully. But do I really drop it? Like, I'd want to bring Incineroar only for safety goggles. Gastrodon could work, but the problem is the Butterfree. If they didn't have Butterfree, I'd actually think about it a little bit more. But if I lead Gastrodon, they lead Butterfree, like, I'm in such a passive position that I think it's really bad. So weirdly enough, like, I'm actually most nervous about Butterfree here because in all the times I've played against this matchup, I've never gone up against Butterfree, right? So that just adds a complete, like, wild card factor here that I'm unprepared for. It's just Whimsicott Thundurus, though. Okay. Basically my question here is, like, oh, you know what we can do? I was gonna suggest Electro Web into Foul Play, but if it's not a guaranteed KO onto the Thundurus, that's kind of risky. And I can't go for Fake Tears combos here either. I'm kind of down to try it out. Yeah, they're going to Dynamax. Especially if they're Life Orb, right? If you're Life Orb but not Assault Vest, then Electro Web does substantially more. You take Life Orb chip and Foul Play, then might be enough to KO you, right? Because in the previous game... Oh, no, the previous game was a Dark or a boosted Foul Play, though, wasn't it? So this shouldn't work. Yeah, maybe I got a little too fancy here. I think, like, Dynamax Aleki, probably Max Lightning Foul Play was the play. Okay, they do Protect, though, which is good. The Protect in itself is actually quite valuable, but they're probably going to Airstream here, right? If I had actually just Dynamax Lightning Foul Play, that would have just been the KO outright. So they're going to Airstream, but that's honestly okay, because they can't get a double knockout. No, they can, right, if they tail... No, because you have to Tailwind. Oh, that was so close. Max Strike. Oh, what? That's like the one move that could have, like, helped them here. Because it not only gets the KO, but it also gives them speed control. Wow. Okay. You still have to Tailwind this next turn, though. And Icy Wind will just finish you off. I wish I had Sucker Punch right now. I can't believe they had Max Strike, though. Like, we actually could have finished them off with Extreme Speed. What does Max Strike even come from on Thundurus? I have not seen that, like, ever, really. Okay, well, I'm just going to bring out Zacian here. This is not a good position, though, because I think the problem now is they can get Kyogre out and then just click Water Spout very easily. So I actually think the right approach is maybe Yveltal and then Max Guard with it. I can't believe they had Max Strike. Wow. If I had Dynamax the Lecky turn 1, what we actually could have done was just Max Lightning Foul Play Thundurus. So that was the better play there. Especially because I had just seen how much we did to Thundurus. I shouldn't have expected that to KO, but actually, I mean, if they were a Life Orb, we would have gotten the knockout, right? Yeah, I think here... Ooh, I don't even know if I see win KOs, I guess, so I'd rather Foul Play here. Yeah, the problem here is Kyogre just comes out for free and clicks Water Spout, so I actually think I just lose this off that turn 1, even though the position right now doesn't look terrible. Because the problem is, like, their team now is able to get Tailwind up, and that's really bad for me. Lightning, yep, and the Zacian. And, like, okay, right now it's like, oh, well, you protected, right? It should be okay, but the problem is, now Kyogre comes out, Water Spout hits both, and then Whimsicott just Moonblasts into Sneasel. And, like, the problem is, my Dynamax needed to come out a little bit quicker. So, that's where Max Alecki turn 1 would have been good. But yeah, I was just really scared of Butterfree in this matchup, honestly. Plus, like, even if I lead Gastrodon, Whimsicott could have Energy Ball, right? And so it's not like Gastrodon just solves all my problems here either. I can't really lead Incineroar into this. Yveltal would have been a pretty bad lead into it, truthfully. Is there any way out of this? Like... Double Protect with Zacian. I can't switch in right now is the problem. So this is what I mean, right? Like, so much about these teams is their Kyogre just coming out into a good position, and I didn't do a good job deterring it. And, like, my Dynamax just going to come out too late this game. Is there any cool play I can make where I Dynamax Sneasel? Not really, because they should just Moonblast Water Spout here. So I guess I go for the Double Protect, and I'll go for an Icy Wind. Like, maybe if they're really slow Kyogre, then after Icy Wind we can actually outspeed them. But I think this game is over if I don't get the double. And even with the double, I still don't think I'm in that good of a spot. Because, like, I should just lose Sneasel here, right? Kyogre actually moves before Whimsicott there. So it's either really slow Whimsicott, like max HP, no speed, or it is just Scarf Kyogre. Scarf Kyogre makes more sense to me here. And they have Gleam, yeah. I guess if you're Scarf Kyogre, maybe my Zacian can survive. That's basically the only thing we can bank on right now. But they have their Zacian in the back as well. So, yeah. This one was always going to be tough because with Protect on Whimsicott, they're essentially guaranteed Tailwind, right? And I think that, like, we struggle to match the speed control, and we're already kind of slower anyway, which makes things even tougher. As crazy as it is, I might just honestly go for the Triple Protect because, like... Actually, what does it even do? Nothing, really. Oh, the Triple Protect, what it accomplishes is, because there's Scarf Kyogre, I'm pretty sure, then your Water Spout's way weaker until the next turn. So, I might as well go for it. The odds are terrible here, but it's better than just losing, right? So, yeah. Unless Zacian survives a Water Spout plus a Dazzling Gleam, I guess that's the other possibility. But yeah, I think I needed to just Dynamax Alecki on turn 1 in this game. Like, if I Max Alecki, Max Lightning Foul Play immediately to just knock out Thundurus, turn 2 they bring out either Kyogre or Zacian, but then I can, like, Icy Wind. If you bring out Zacian and just Behemoth Blade one-shot Alecki, though, I'm in pretty bad shape anyway. So, yeah. We don't get the double. Yeah, it's about gets the KO. So it's like, okay, Triple Protect failed there, but if we had actually gotten it, we actually maybe had a shot to come back in this game. Because the thing is, their Kyogre is the main damage in his Zacian, right? So if we actually, like, put it at really low HP, it's completely useless going into the subsequent turn. And then the next turn, what I can do is double up onto the Whimsicott with Max Airstream Behemoth Blade. That will be on the last turn of Tailwind, although then they could Protect on Whimsicott, so then I would maybe consider substituting with Zacian. I know that was a lot of theory just now, but yeah. I am curious if they were sashed on Whimsicott, so I'll target it here. Although I might just feint to Spout and Dazzling Gleam anyway. So yeah, I mean, missing out the knockout obviously was the main bummer in turn 1. We were really close, but shouldn't have expected it to KO. Although, like I said, if you're Life Orb and not Assault Vest there, I do actually get that KO I expect. So the item choice is really big here. And I honestly was thinking that they would be the Life Orb on this team composition, just because the damage output is really, really valuable. But they ended up not being it, right? So that's one thing that I feel like I'm 0 for 2 on today, which is like guessing the kind of Thundurus set my opponent has. In the first game, I was thinking they weren't even a Dynamax and they were supportive, and then in this game, they were, and there's the item on Whimsicott, yeah, so it wasn't Focus Sash. I kind of expected that on Butterfree, but a Healing Berry here, Citrus, is definitely not what I expected. That's interesting. We're at +2 speed, but they just tailwind Behemoth Blade now, so, yeah. The thing is, Yveltal lead wouldn't have worked out super well for me either. Yeah, like the problem in this game is they always get tailwind up. So my best bet would have probably been, if they don't have a grass type attack on the Whimsicott, lead Gastrodon and then put on pressure with Yawn. And a best of one, sometimes like I guess I would just go for it if I were to play that matchup again, because it's one of those where it's like, okay, if it's already a bad matchup and you have the tech to beat Gastrodon, so be it. That's just how it is. The other approach was Dynamax Alecki, double up on Thundurus turn 1. Then turn 2, they Tailwind and Behemoth Blade Alecki or bring in Kyogre. If you bring in Kyogre, we're actually in pretty good shape. And if you bring in the... if you bring in the Zacian, like Behemoth Blade can potentially just one-shot Regieleki, which is really, really scary. So you can Tailwind Blade, I can Icy Wind. But then it's like, where do I go from there, right? Because then they can just Dazzling Gleam and Behemoth Blade, whatever is coming in. So even if I Dynamax the Lecky, I actually don't think I would have been in that much better of a position either. And so Tailwind is one of the strategies I struggle a little bit to play against. And Gastrodon could be the solution, but a Taunt or Energy Ball Whimsicott just makes Gastrodon not very valuable there either, unfortunately. But, you know, that's less common on those Whimsicotts, right? Like, you expect Tailwind, Moonblast, Protect, Moonblast for Dazzling Gleam, I guess, and then a fourth move. I think a grass type attack makes a ton of sense there, because otherwise their team is actually fairly Gastrodon weak, and I also didn't want to lead Gastrodon into a potential Butterfree lead either, which I think would have been pretty scary. So, yeah. Either way, though, nice execution by my opponent, and that's why that composition is really so strong at the moment, because it's all about just positioning your Kyogre and just, like, getting even a single Water Spout off for a lot of strength. And given that Whimsicott was Citrus Berry there, it may have just been slow Whimsicott and not Scarf Kyogre, but I'm not 100% sure there. They did switch out, making me think that it was Scarfed in the end, but can't say for sure. So, yeah. Alright, I decided I'd play a fourth game here, since the last three were relatively fast, and we've got Zacian, Kyurem, Amoonguss, Ditto, Grimm, and Indeedee. I really don't love going up against Kyurem here. I think, like, Kyurem has the ability to one-shot almost everything, and then, like, Zacian's inherently faster. Yeah, this is tricky. Because they could just lead Indeedee Kyurem, right? That's, like, the main lead to worry about when you fight against it. I could lead Sneasel Yveltal, but I don't think it's that effective. The problem is, like, I can't really Dynamax Alecki, right? It just kind of gets dunked on. So I feel like I have to go Sneasel, Yveltal, Zacian, and then one of Incineroar and Alecki. The reason to bring Incineroar would be Intimidate into Zacian. Like, Dynamax Incineroar is a really interesting consideration in this matchup, just because my opponent would never expect it. I'm bringing a Lucky, but yeah, I don't know. I don't feel good about a fourth Pokemon here. The Dynamax Incineroar option, by the way, would be like potentially leading Incineroar turn 1 like Max Guard into turn 2 Max Strike into turn 3 Max Guard. The idea of that is to just stall out Kyurem's Dynamax and then utilize, stall out Kyurem's Dynamax and then utilize Yveltal and Zacian for late game success here. But I don't know. I don't have any experience with that here, so I'm not going to try to go for it. And they're going to just go with Grimmsnarl and Kyurem. Okay. My only problem here is, I guess, we're not max speed. Oh, but Dark Aura goes before Turbo Blaze. That is huge. That is huge. Given this, I'm actually down to just Fake Tears, Dynamax, and Darkness. Now, they didn't lead Indeedee here, which is good. That was the lead I was most worried about. Because if you go Indeedee plus Kyurem turn 1, like, follow me, just stops anything that I want to do, right? But they may have been hesitant about that because they may have been worried about Assault Vest plus Snarl on Yveltal here. Because if I am that combination, you're actually in a lot more trouble, right? Because then it's like, I don't really care about the redirection from Indeedee. I can Snarl away the Kyurem. Got Focus Sash intact on the Sneasel as well. But right now I'm feeling okay about this, mainly because they ended up leading Grimmsnarl into Dual Darks, which is always very, very, very good for us. But it could just be Light Screen turn 1, right? Or pivot into Indeedee Protect. Oh, they actually brought Zacian. Okay. Ideally Kyurem just Dynamaxes here and we one-shot it. Maybe I should have brought Incineroar then, because if we did one-shot the Kyurem on turn 1 of the game, like Incineroar would just put us in such a good spot, because then I have Intimidate, and it'd be Incineroar into Zacian plus Grim. But given that Kyurem is slower here, I kind of expect an Assault Vest set. Normally, like with Life Orb, I assume max speed, Life Orb, max special attack, max speed. They do Dynamax. I mean, this is not bad in the grand scheme of things, right? Because it's like, even if you are Assault Vest and you one-shot my Yveltal, I have Regieleki and Zacian in the back, and like the pressure of Electro Web plus Behemoth Blade is fairly valuable for me right now, and I have a special defense drop onto the opposing, onto both Pokemon, right? So we'll see. If Kyurem just faints from this Fake Tears combo, we might just win. But even if we KO Kyurem immediately, like Zacian still has enough power for them to actually bring the game back, which is wild to think about. We do get Fake Tears off, and we get Max Darkness. Yes, very nice. This is what this duel can do, right? You can just one-shot a Dynamax Pokemon, and it's actually kind of hard to stop, because normally your way of stopping Sneasel is either Fake Out or Speed Control. And this is why Tailwind is problematic, though, right? Because with Tailwind, you can then just outpace me. Okay, so they bring Grim back out. That's fine. You have a special defense drop now. I expect to survive Behemoth Blade as well, so honestly I'm down to just Foul Play Zacian and Max Airstream onto it. Because Grimmsnarl is never really doing enough damage, although... Okay, we'll take it. I mean, I think it was still potentially doable, but yeah, after that turn 1, like, I think Indeedee plus Kyurem would have just been the better lead for my opponent here, given what I had, but once again, like, my opponent might feel hesitant bringing that because, of course, they have, you might be worried about Snarl, for example, but it helped out that Yveltal here was just faster than Kyurem, and they just switched out on turn 1, so that made my life a lot easier. But yeah, I think if it's Indeedee Kyurem, I have to play the game a lot more carefully. I'm not sure exactly what I would do, because like I think with that lead, you know, you could just go for Follow Me on turn 1, so I would probably explore the option of like Protect Yveltal turn 1, Foul Play into the Indeedee slot, turn 2 switch Yveltal out into Zacian, Foul Play again, turn 3 Protect Zacian, bring in Aleki, then Aleki can ideally Thunderbolt to finish off the Indeedee, and then it offers a free Behemoth Blade onto the Kyurem slot. But yeah, I don't know, that's just one like approach I thought of if they wanted to go with Indeedee plus Kyurem. But it would definitely be harder, right? Because like I can't just Dynamax Yveltal with this much confidence. But that game also, just knowing that we were faster than Kyurem based off how the abilities activated on turn 1 gave me a major advantage. So this is what I mean. This team can win you the game in just a singular turn, right? And so that is the strength of the Sneasel Yveltal combination. Really glad to feature like 3 really strong games featuring this duo, right? And this is legit, right? Like we're going up against really strong teams as well. So honestly, don't count Sneasel out in this format. The combination of Dark typing, base, you know, 115 speed, and Inner Focus, and Icy Wind, and Foul Play all enable it to be a very strong partner for Yveltal here. So thank you so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.